Hi, everyone. I'm happy to have you back with me so we can talk some more about the numbers and about your life. And I'm Gail Minogue, and I started out as a numerologist, but I've got branched into other parts of what we call mystery school information over the last 30, 40 years. So I have a lot of information to share with you that is not readily available, certainly not in books. And certainly, most of the people that taught me are deceased. So I had a lot of older, elderly teachers who really did not have an axe to grind to make a dollar, really. They were in it because they knew the information and they just really wanted it shared. So today I wanted to talk to you about your name and I wanted to talk to you about your date of birth because these two um, items are you. This is how you're working your way through this life, just this one life. And most people don't even know they had a plan or a blueprint or anything that accompanied them. And you see people behaving rather bizarrely, especially in today's arena. But for always along, they had a plan. So when we're going to reincarnate, which we do, and we will continue to reincarnate, because this is not your last lifetime, it's just maybe your last opportunity at this time period to be here. But it's your soul is never ever ending. It is continually on, creating personalities for itself and experiences for itself for eons. It cannot die. And I think one of the things that you must realize is that when a soul is beginning a journey, and it will begin, say, we'll call it the heavens or the internal workings of the universe, a sound is struck in the heavens. It is called a phonem. And that is your, what I call your forever sound. This sound stays with you your entire life, whether it's in this life here, any life there, wherever you are, it is your sound. And you always want to acknowledge it and find out what it is. It's very difficult to get to realize your sound because most people don't even know they have a sound. But the whole universe is made up of sound. In the beginning, there was the word, which is sound. So you were created to journey in here, to live a certain period of time, at this time in evolution of the human. And we think this is all real, meaning this is it, this is not it, this is a joint you're visiting. And so you had a plan that you created prior to coming in, and that was all in your registered name. Everybody's given a name, whether it's just one word. You're given a name, you're giving a registration here. So when you came in, the first name you registered or was registered for you is your plan. But inside of that name are all kinds of what I call secret clues as to who and what you're about, where you've been down the block before you came in, what is going to help you, what is it indications of. So the name is extremely important. Most people in numerology will just say, well, I'm born to this date and this is my number. No, you have so many numbers. The only one that they talk about really is your date of birth, which is what we'll call the road. That's the path or the life path. I'm on life path number 5, which is a catalyst of change. But that's not who I am all encompassing. I'm my name, I'm my destiny, I'm my personality, I'm my soul number. In fact, one of the things you want to know is how does your name break down in vowels versus consonants? And when people say, well, I have a different language or I'm from China and I don't, whatever, everything is sound. So you work with the sounds of the name, okay? You work with the letters of the name. So most numerologists won't even touch that stuff because it's too involved. So, but you need to still know it. The first vowel of your name, the first vowel is one of the most important letters in your entire name, and it indicates so much about you as your first vowel. So say my first name is Gail, and the first letter is G, second letter is an A, which is my first vowel. And you have, in the English language, A, E, I, O, U, and Y. These are considered vowels, although the Y can be used as a vowel or a consonant. The consonants, meaning G, the L, which is, these are consonants, G, the A and the I are vowels. The consonants of your name make up a type of personality you're going to work with. So my personality is the number 1. For my entire name, you have to use the middle name. You have to use all your names. Some people have 4 names at birth. They only use 3. They may only use 2, but it's what was registered when you first came in. And the first vowel, the most important letters of your entire name, even if it's a long name, are the first letter, the first vowel, and the last letter of your first name. The first letter, the first vowel, and the last letter of your first name. Huge indicators of who and what you're about. And if you know this about somebody, you can tell a tremendous amount about them before you ever walk out the door. You can just study their first letter, their first vowel, and the ending letter of their first name. Like in my name, Gail, that letter that ends my first name is an L. This is an indication that I am a late bloomer. So I'm not going to really hit my stride till well after I'm 50. And that the older I get, the stronger I get, and the more successful I get. So here I am in my, quote, approaching elder years, and I have more things I'm doing, more opportunities, more adventures, more everything. And that is not surprising with an L as the ending of my first name. The A in my name indicates a very, very hard worker. If you have a first vowel as an A, hard worker, you like to do things that complete so that other people, they may do shoddy work. You'll come in quietly, finish it up, get it done, and get no credit. So the A's are the ones, are the doers. It's more of a mental letter. And you wouldn't even believe it. There are mental letters, there are emotional letters, and there are physical letters. So the A is a mental level. So I will approach things more from a mental level. I will think about things rather than, quote, feel about things. I will think about them. And if you want to approach me from a mental level. And if you ask me how I feel, I may just tell you I feel hot. What do you mean how I feel? Let's talk about what do I think? Well, that's a different question. That's a mental request. So these things are extremely important. And most people haven't a clue if they even know their first letter. Like I have the first letter of G. Well, that is a great indicator of the type of person. First of all, it's a 7. The G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. And the G indicates someone who is there and then becomes extremely private and turns themselves in. Just like the letter, it turns back in. So it likes to go out to the world and come back in. So it's very true of me. I don't mind getting up in front of an audience, speaking, teaching, whatever, and then I got to get away from everybody. And I got to go into my world where I can be by myself, process, analyze, read, be in nature, but it has to be alone by myself. So G's turn in on themselves, and they also expect to be paid for their services. That's something odd about the number G, okay? And so you take a look at these. If you have the first vowel of an O, like Donald or Robert or Joseph, okay? You start going on and you start looking at the O's, or Ronald, Donald, Joseph, Robert. These people all have first letter O's, and they need to be the boss. They don't want to be told what to do. You can ask them, but you don't tell them. Okay? You can ask them if they would, what have you, but don't tell them what to do, and don't tell them twice because they just get angry. They want to be the boss. They want to be in charge, whether it's the household, the business, the country, what have you. But it's very important that the first vowel O, be the boss. And this, you can go on to each vowel, and you can tell the person right away from how they're going to handle things. The letter E, okay, this is much more emotional. So you want to ask the person with a first vowel E, like Jenny or Henry. How do you feel? You might ask the person with the A, well, what do you think? because they're the feeling. They want you to ask them how they feel, what's going on that way. They're more tactile people, and they're very much into their feelings, and they want to express their feelings. And if you don't honor their feelings, you get their feelings hurt. Okay, so this is just one aspect of one vowel. The Y is that's a powerful vowel to have as a first vowel. And it's very intricate because it can go both ways as a consonant, but they're very powerful people, Ys. Okay, the first vowel Y. So what I'm trying to get at is there's so much more information in your name than you even know. And there's so much, if you just start to study about people, that you can understand about them. They've not even met them. And so when people come to me for consultations, and they come and they ask this and this and this, I'll say, they want to know about their spouse. They want to know about their boss. You never go into business, ever, without knowing about your potential partner's blueprint, because you don't know them. You may know their personality, but you don't know them. And they don't even know some of themselves, but how they're going to react, how they're going to respond, what's deep down. What's deep down and where the person coming from is always coming from the vowels in their name. So what is driving this person? They may be the sweetest, nicest, whatever, but what's driving them? And you need to know what's driving them, especially if you're going to go work with them, especially if you're going to marry them. Where are they coming from? And it will surprise you. It will surprise you over and over. Now, if your life path, which is your date of birth, remember I said your life path is your date of birth, that's the road you're going to go on. I'm on road number 5. I can't get off it. So I can expect a lot of change, a lot of unexpected changes. I may be expecting to go south, and all of a sudden I have to go east, and everything changes on you. That's a 5. They're in here to learn a lot about constructive change. Maybe they've had very past lives they hardly no change. They were stuck in convents or, monasteries. So this lifetime they have lots of change, so that they experience all of life. That's a 5 life path. But what if their vowels are the same when you total up all the vowels in their name and it becomes the same as their life path? What does that indicate? That indicates a repeated life. This is a life lived over. So when the total sum of the values equals the same as the life path, this life path is like, well, I think I'm just going to do that plan over again. So you take it off the shelf, you dust it off, and you start reliving it. But when you are doing a life over or again, the same plan, it's like double down. So you really have to learn that lesson of constructive freedom versus destructive freedom, and not to indulge in the 5 senses, which so many people do. And America is a 5 country, July 4th, 1776. It always overindulges in the physical level. It's too much food, and we have an obesity problem, too much alcohol, too much drugs, too much sex, too much, and we're constantly out of balance because the 5 has to learn the balance between the 1 and the 9. It's right in the middle. It has to be able to remove that past 1 through 4 into the future constructively. So 5s, like Abraham Lincoln is a 5, they do constructive change, very wonderful. But 5, when they're destructive, they're very dangerous. So you don't want a 5 president who's not got their act together. So all of these crazy candidates that are running for office, nobody really knows who they are. Very few people really study them. They just go by, I just call them performers. They're all performers. Some of them are terrible, and they just want to they're performing politicians, which is not surprising when you become near the end of a cycle of a country, and before it can blossom into a new type of country, you have this kind of rot, and it has to get deconstructed before you can construct something new. So these next few years, and I'm doing this in 2022 in October. Today's the 1st of November. So I'm doing this just before a big primary. But you know what? it's going to be same old, because we're still working under that old deconstruction. And the new construction will begin, but not yet. So stay tuned to my videos, because I'm going to be talking about the new construction of this country, and right now we're building everything on the old construction, and all these loudmouths, nut jobs. This is it's like the dregs coming out, both in the political world and in the expectations of what people expect and the behavior of the citizens. They're like losing their minds. They don't know what to do with it as it deconstructs. So this is just a little bit of information. I want you to get it, that your name, when you even have in your name 2 L's together, that L is always it's the 12th letter. This is the very creative number, is the 3, which is 12 is a 3. So when you have 2 L's, this indicates a past life. This person was a writer and had a gift of the written and spoken word. So it's always nice, if you're a writer, to have a lot of L's in your name. It makes it easy for you to write. You need to continue to do this. And so I urge you really to pay attention to your entire name, not just your life path, and find out. And if you need help with that, I'll be glad to do it, because that's kind of work I do. And that's what people do need. They need to understand their certain situations, how they got themselves into it, and what do they need to get out, and what's their timing on it. Everything also has to do with timing. That's in your date of birth. So they work together. So we can talk about that on another video, but I wanted to give this to you. So I want this to be food for thought, so you will start concentrating on your own life, not the life of all those around you, on your own, because you don't have as much time as you think here. If you're lucky, you'll get to be 120. If you're lucky, you're going to get 80 good, healthy years. Okay, because most people don't take care of their health. And then the body said, why should I stay? So it checks out. I don't care what kind of name you have, it'll check itself out. And so people will give up on this place, but they never really lived here in the first place. They never knew how to live. They never knew their blueprint. They didn't know how to really live their own lives. They lived everybody else's but their own. And then they got very fearful. And then they work as clerk in stores while they have masters and PhDs, because they're terrified to make change. This is the place to make change. You're in a 5 country. Go make change. Get out of the town you're living in and go live somewhere else. Get out of the job you're doing. That isn't really who you are. It's not enough. Anyway, that's enough lecture for today. We'll talk more about your name another time. Thank you. If you'd like to get in touch with me, my website is here. You can order a session with me. I'm going to be doing a Zoom program on the 12th of November, and it will be a recap of the election. So if you would like to join us, go to my website and register for it. It'll be a 1-hour recap on the elections and what it means for the United States. So again, thanks for listening, watching, and I look forward to our next visit. Thank you.